Hey, I just wanted to have a quick chat with you today about couples counselling. Now, the chances are, if you're watching this video, you could be having a few issues in your relationship, right? That would make sense. And if that's the case, then clearly you want to get the best therapy possible because you want to get it right first time. It's stressful enough going through marriage or relationship problems without putting yourself out there, being courageous enough to seek therapy, and then finding it simply doesn't work. Now, I know quite a few couples who have tried therapy, and it seems fine when they're in front of the therapist and they're practicing their communication skills and they're learning how to control their communication, their responses to each other. But as soon as they get home and they get back into the familiar patterns of interacting, they are on the treadmill again in the same old cycle of arguing, fighting and yelling at each other. Well, that's pretty stressful and it's discouraging. And I want to tell you why I think a lot of that might be. The reason this happens is because in psychology over the last few decades, we've really been focusing on cognitive approaches to help people. Now, don't get me wrong, cognitive approaches like cognitive behavior therapy, which is a very well used and much loved therapy among all kinds of counsellors and psychologists and therapists, is very good, and it's excellent for things like depression and anxiety. But the reason it may not be so good for relationships is quite simply how we are made as human beings. You see, we are made to have our emotions kick in before our thoughts kick in. Our prefrontal cortex, which is the part of our brain that thinks things through, that makes decisions and problem solves, is not as fast as our amygdala, which is a small primal part of the brain in the center of your brain. And that's the part that kicks in when you perceive that you're in danger. Your body's designed to protect you and get you out of danger as quickly as possible. So if you're in a dangerous situation, or your brain thinks you are, your amygdala kicks in, you get flooded with stress hormones, you've got the flight or fight response, and it's all designed to keep you safe, to get you out of that dangerous situation as quickly as possible. And it works, and it's worked for millennia, and that's the reason we are the way we are. But the only problem is that these days, very often, we don't have the same kinds of dangerous situations that we may have had, in the days of the cavemen with dangerous animals and such like. So the fact is that our emotions still kick in when we perceive danger, and we often perceive danger in relationships, particularly if we have had bad experiences or poor relationships with our primary caregivers. We may have an insecure attachment style, and that will affect how we relate to others. So you can see that the cognitive approach is all well and good, but unless we deal with the emotions first and foremost, those deep-seated core emotions that cause us to become enraged when we fight, when we argue, that get us back into that primal fight or flight, that cause us to say horrible things to each other, unless we can deal with those, we're not going to solve our relationship issues. That's why I'm a big fan of emotion-focused therapy, particularly for couples counselling. Emotion-focused therapy will look into those deep underlying core emotions that are triggering you to get into those toxic cycles of yelling, screaming, fighting, silence, withdrawing, whatever your response might be. We have to look at it. You have to be honest and open and willing to work on your marriage, but it should work first go. Emotion-focused therapy has a 75% success rate among almost all couples with a stable result at 2-year follow-up. So it's the gold standard for couples therapy these days. That's why I wanted to have this chat with you. I wanted to save you the trouble of trying to research this, but I have written about this in depth in my latest article on my website. I will post the link below, and I am going to be doing some online work. So if your relationship's in trouble, don't wait any longer. We all deserve to have happy, healthy, secure relationships. It's one of the most important things in life for our happiness. So drop me a line on my website, get in touch. Let's see how we can help you using this wonderful therapy, emotion focused therapy. Talk to you soon. Bye.